One, thank you for joining our series of webinars today. So we are going to talk about the mitigating risks in AI adoption in 2025. As well as how we can effectively govern the AI risks and management. My name is Sumedha. I'm the director here at NSN Infotech. We are a managed service provider in Sydney who looks after computer solutions, cloud solutions, as well as cybersecurity, AI, and governance side of things. So we hold these type of insightful webinars periodically to help organizations decide and stay on top of what's in the tech space. Joining us today is Bruno from our strategic partner, USecure, who are our cybersecurity and solutions expert, who will help us later to get to know more about what organizations can do to prepare for the AI adoption across the globe. All right. So I'm sure everyone is aware and excited for the opportunities AI tools can open for businesses, whether it's in terms of simplifying workflows, getting AI-powered solutions, and even just improving efficiency. Organizations have started using it with as simple as ChatGPT. And I know you already know what is ChatGPT. It's being used across the globe. It came as a storm and it's being used almost everyone for daily use. Or Microsoft Copilot, which is a fantastic tool that integrates into the Microsoft Office products. Unlike ChatGPT is predominantly a web-based product where you could use for your generative AI tasks. But on the other hand, Copilot is kind of integrated into your Microsoft Office 365 suite, where you could use within the application. Say if you want to use Copilot with Microsoft Outlook, for an example, you don't need to swap between screens. You can just use it within Outlook. And same goes to Word, Teams, PowerPoint. You could create presentations using AI. Microsoft Copilot, it really works well in Microsoft Teams environments. Like, for example, you want to create, transcriptions, you want to create insights, create action items, you want to create AI notes. So my Copilot does it like absolutely brilliantly. The thing is, it's really undeniable that adopting AI for the business is just an option, right? It's already a need. At some point in the future, your business will need to adopt AI. That's a fact. If we look at Cisco's AI readiness report last year, companies around the globe are already experiencing the pressure to have AI strategy, as they believe that not having one will bring negative business effect in the future. Right? So as a business, you definitely need to have some sort of strategy going in with AI adoption. 50% of the companies surveyed are already allocating budgets for AI deployment. It's true. With the engagement we have with our customers, AI has been a hot topic, and I'll talk about a little bit later on that one, as well as Bruno can also talk about it in larger scale. How AI can affect the business both positively as well as negatively. In the Asia Pacific region itself, Deloitte reported that AI investment is on track to grow fivefold. So that's a big number, right? And the largest driver will be generative AI. Some of the generative AIs that I'll just list down some of the key ones, like ChatGPT. You probably have heard about it. Claude, it's like a chatbot focused more control outputs, and also Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, it's more integrated into Microsoft Suite. And also there are other type of AIs that you could use, like for AI image and video generation, AI code assistance, AI for business productivity. So the list goes on, right? And I'm pretty sure in the near future we will have more and more and more in AI space. So I'm also very sure that you have experience, especially with ChatGPT, and everybody started using it, as soon as it became available. And I'm pretty sure that uh, anyone, if you ask, what is AI, they probably would say either Copilot or ChatGPT. It's that being used. While it's a good thing that people can open to new technologies and ready to embrace it, it still has its challenges, especially now with how fast we are adopting this new technology. Uh, when I say challenges, if you look at AI itself, being used for good as well as for bad, right? And at the same time, when you're adopting AI, you definitely need to have a strategy on how to secure your environment before unleashing this beast into your environment, because it can do a lot of good as well as a lot of damage. Yeah. When I say damage, it's more on security side of things. Like it could potentially uh, be a loophole in your system where things can leak out of the environment if you don't have a proper controls in place before getting AI into the environment. So I will talk about a little bit more on those things in next slides. So this space and scale of AI adoption has a dark side too. This is what we're going to talk about now. So according to Deloitte's 2024 survey of around 900 senior leaders who started using AI, within their organizations, they are experiencing AI-related risks. So when I talk about risk, it's more about, leaking IPs out or accountability, um, security vulnerabilities, surveillance, privacy. So these are the kind of risks that arises with when AI is used without having a proper controls and strategy in place, right? On top of it's always security vulnerabilities would be kind of on top of all of these risks because everything is more relates into security. And these can come from AI solutions or the big amount used by the solutions, which can become prime targets for thefts of data breaches and can result in significant costs. Like for an example, say if you are using an online version of AI and it's not controlled within your environment, a user can accidentally copy and paste your corporate information into AI chat, and that instantly become public knowledge. So that's something that we definitely need to control. Let people know what you can copy paste, what you can use, what you can share. So those things comes with proper strategy. With that, I'd like to highlight that we consider as security risks having AI for organizations. Right. First, will always be data privacy risks. If you have an employee who unknowingly puts sensitive information into these AI tools, you can potentially violate regulations such as GDPR. So the list goes on. Like as I mentioned before, so having a good strategy in place, good governance policies in place, will definitely get the best out of AI adoptions in your environments. So which brings us to the idea that we've always been very vocal about as we adopt these new technologies, organizations need to have the right settings, policies, and the right approach to identify and address these risks. So the strategy is paramount important when you want to adopt AI. as well as you need good AI governance. So you need the right rules, policies, frameworks as you adapt to these new technologies. So yes, we are all for adopting new technologies, but you have to take a step back first and look if your organization is ready for this. You could look at your data structures. You could look at how your data is being shared, whether you overshared your data. So those are the things that you definitely need to look at before adopting AI, like especially generative AI, because say if you overshared data, the Gen AI can tap into these. Say if there's a user who wants to, like for an example, say you shared overshared Excel file or a spreadsheet with salary details in it. Sorry, the generative AI can go in and take those information. Now, if the user who's using the tool correctly use prompts, like correct prompts, then they can potentially get those details. That's why we definitely need to look at what type of permissions you have in your workplace, whether you overshared them. Sometimes when you use SharePoint type of environments, you could just right click and share, right? Without thinking twice. But definitely those things needs to be put into a policy type of a control and shared with all users, educate all your users, how you should use AI tools. So we'll talk about a little bit on AI governance, what it looks like, right? To have an effective AI governance, we look at these 5 pillars organization must have. So these are the 5 pillars that we've understood that organizations must have when it's come to governing AI effectively, right? So how would we say the organizational structure is ready, right? You need to have assigned roles, responsibilities, assigned to management support, organizations-wide AI governance. And for policies and principles, you need to have robust policy and well-defined principles. And procedures and controls, you could start with standard operational procedures, how you need to do these, how you need to do that, like from doing things, taking things from A to B, like those type of scenarios. So and people and skills, this is something that we need to concentrate more, because as we all know, people are the weakest link in when it comes to security, right? So that's where we need to educate users. So we need to have awareness training. We need to let them know what's out there, and we need to tell them, okay, these are the risks that having in current world in terms of cybersecurity. So the users are aware when they're doing something, so that the risks of having mistakes or taking mistakes in place is completely minimized or mitigated, right? And monitoring and reporting and evaluation, of course, you can monitor these type of AI usage within the business, and reporting, as well as looking at where the loopholes are. Then you can kind of bridge those gaps. As I mentioned earlier, the human element is at the center of AI governance, right? So AI tools depend on people to design, implement, feed it, and feed data and oversee it responsibly, right? So if there's one aspect of governance organizations need to start working on, they have to start with their employees. As I mentioned, employees are the weakest link in the security life cycle, right? So with this, I'm gonna hand it over to our expert Bruno from USecure to give us more insights on why we think human element is the most important of these 5 pillars. Over to you, Bruno.
Thanks, Sumita, for everything and all these explanations. I think we went right into the subject. And before I go on explaining what we can do on the level of every individual that will actually managing the AI tools. I want to give you an analogy that will make you understand how to consider AI. AI tools are technical, obviously, but if you have an analogy of understanding how we would deal with other aspects in our real life, then you'll understand what we need to be careful about, right? So I tend to 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 explain AI as being a child that is becoming a teenager right now, that has a lot of data knowledge, but still needs to be controlled, needs to be guided. And if you take that into consideration, you will understand what the parent, which every user will actually become, every user that has access to AI tools, is becoming a parent and needs to take that responsibility into making that child grow into the right direction and not committing mistakes, basically. Okay, so keep that in mind, because that's basically what everybody will be doing. Okay, so we are talking about how people will then have to take into consideration all these aspects to provide good AI governance. So it needs to be controlled. Again, think about the parent. The parent need to control the child. SAI can be very useful. They can make decisions. But they lack maybe the human judgment, the ethics, or the context, what they then providing as an information. So you and your employees need to ensure that AI systems align with the company values and ethical principles. That's really one of the first role. That's how you would then, for example, also for a child, guide them into the life and then reflect your ethics as you're reflecting on the ethics of the company. The second point is that you have to have people to set up AI policies and standards. So all those frameworks that you can put in place are created and enforced by people. Employees define policies, decide on risk tolerance, and ensure compliances with regulations. So that has to be put in place. We'll see how we can do that. But those standards and frameworks have to be defined somewhere. Okay. The third point is that AI is obviously only as good as its data. Again, the similarity with a child, you are sharing your knowledge with the child, and if you give the wrong information, that then is used in a wrong way over there. Okay, so employees are responsible for the data quality, bias detection, and fairness in AI training data sets. Poor data management can lead to bias or harmful AI outcomes. So if you can see that with all the tools that we then use, being it ChatGPT, being it Copilot, being any AI tools that we actually have in our cell phones ourselves, because that's coming to everybody through the cell phones too, is that there can be AI, what we call AI hallucinations. It's basically generated content, being it images, being it content that is based on data, but is then represented in a way that is not actually correct. So we need to be very careful about the data that feeds those different models, but then also still to control the output of it. Is again just a child or teenager that you are controlling in that way. Okay. The fourth point is that AI can be trusted without human validation. So with all that in mind, everything that comes out of your AI tools need validation from every user. It's not something that you can govern from an administrative perspective, from a technical perspective, but you cannot guarantee that, because only the user that is using the AI tool can guarantee that the data is actually correct. So that's very important. Needs to be assured over there. And yeah, it really relies on human skills and training. Obviously, organizations need a place with AI literacy to manage risks and understand how AI affects their work. It can be a big help. It will save a lot of time. We are all now using AI assistants to help us with our tasks. On this call, an AI tool is transcribing what we are saying. It is summarizing it, so it's very useful for you not to be taking notes, for example, because you'll get it all from the AI tool, but then you need to take it with a mitigated approach and understand that maybe there are some mistakes and it's still not perfect. It's not a sentient being. They don't have the ultimate power to knowledge to generate content. It's just still something that is evolving and needs to be controlled. Yeah. Okay, so we can go to the next slide, Timura. So humans are the people that are at risk, obviously, right? So they are very generally prone to attacks from cyber criminals. I'm talking about that because that's basically what we talk about at USecure, is identifying risks and then mitigating them and closing the gaps that people have in knowledge. And that's basically it. If people are trained correctly, then they are able to fight against any attacks, and they are able to then also use AI responsibly. Okay. We talked about the fact that the knowledge is one thing, but also people need to be guided on those different processes. So that is something that needs to be shared with individuals. It's basically what you can do on the level of individuals is to increase the knowledge and to share guidelines and frameworks and documents, so that maybe those security policies will then really put people into a situation that they know what they need to do in certain dangers that they are facing with the AI tools that they have. Yeah, next slide. So how can we then transform your employees or any user into a cybersecurity asset, especially what we want to do? Next slide. We will be dealing with within our platform, which is a training platform, we will be dealing with all those aspects. So obviously training people with training courses. We want those to be very bite-sized, very easy to engage, very fun actually to engage, but also very personalized. So nothing is worse than having training courses that do not really concern you. So it needs to be very, very personalized. That's what we will be doing under one aspect of the platform, which is the training, which is the You Learn module that we have in the platform. Another aspect, and it is linked with still AI tools that are out there, because you as an employee are maybe using AI to get help, but other people with negative intentions, cyber criminals, are also using generative AI to create attacks and to try to get then critical data from your end. So it's important to be confronted with those simulations that will prepare you for the real life attacks with a tool that we have in place that will generate phishing simulations, so that you know, okay, these are the kinds of simulations that a good cyber criminal will send us, and it's better to fail on the simulation than to fail in real life, for then it has real repercussions for you. Okay, the third point is to have a tool that will basically show you the data that cyber criminals have access to. There's a lot of data out there with a lot of data breaches. Everybody has accounts on different services nowadays, being it global ones or email services, being it event websites, being it tools that you use for your job, for your work. But those accounts that you have over there can then mean that that data can be out there and can be breached. That data can be used by cyber criminals. It's about you understanding what data is out there to be able to be prepared for that data to be used, or to change it in a way that it will not harm you or your company that way. Okay. And we talked a lot about frameworks, processes, guidelines. That is something that needs to be shared within the platform too. We have what we call a U policy, which is a policy and document management tool that goes beyond SharePoint or stuff like that, for example, to share documents, because it really makes sure that everybody goes through the documents that they are asked to go through, and will be able to report on all those metrics. And that's one big task that we have on our platform, USecure, is really to be able to track down exactly what people are actually doing within the platform with all those training courses, with all those phishing campaigns, the data breaches, and document engagement policy, document engagement, so that you are able to have a good representation of how your users are actually getting better over time, and that they are at a position that is not harmful to your company. Again, putting that in context, sharing knowledge around AI is the most important then that you can automate. Can we go to the next slide, Samira? The approach, and then to the next slide, nowadays is to have a tool that will work in an automated way. You are unable to really take every individual within your company and to train them accordingly to their needs. So we need an automated tool, which is then also relying partially on AI itself, to to make that ongoing approach actually work. So that, for example, every new employee that you have in your organization, your company, will be onboarded on our platform, will be then trained accordingly. We'll build a knowledge profile so that we know exactly every individual what they need to be trained on. We will train them in a very easy and light way so that it will not hinder your business. It's about having 5-minute long courses once a month, for example, so that it's very easy to engage with those courses, making those courses very very fun, talking about maybe more dry subjects like AI, but also too, but doing it in a fun way with cartoons so that people identify themselves from avatars and will memorize that in their daily work. It's about, again, having those 4 pillars. So also having the phishing campaigns and enrolled to people regularly in an automated way. So all that is completely automated with our platform, including the policy documents or any documents that we then go out, for example, to a new employee right away as part of its onboarding process, induction process. It's about more reminding people about what they actually need to do to increase the knowledge. It's a more positive way than putting deadlines on people, forcing them to really go through the content. It's really rely on the fact that people will be happy to go through that content. But at the same time, reporting is important. So it's important to understand how things are going with every individual, so that you are able at the end of the month, end of the week, to see the progress on increasing the knowledge, on making sure that policy documents are signed and taken into consideration, and then also that those breach managers that are able to deal with that, or even the end users that way. Okay, so again, all I talked about into increasing the knowledge of people, making sure that that happens, is an automation tool that we have in the platform. So it's very, very easy to deploy and not forget about any new employee, any new documents. Everything is done in a very automated way that takes minutes to set up, rather than what you would think maybe hours or days in the platform. Sumeda, next slide, please. So let's talk a little bit, about the personalized training. So I told you we actually build a knowledge profile on every individual. That is something that you can showcase in our platform with different representations. This spider website that you can see over here, for example, is one type of representation to show you that we cover different areas. Within those areas, there are the AI tools integrated. Okay, it's not specifically for AI, but it is integrated over there. So it covers more than just the problematics of AI. It covers things about secure passwords or working remotely or stuff like that. So all those different thematics, but we are able to very quickly understand the knowledge profile of a user as soon as that user gets on board, and then we are able to work on that. Next slide. We are able then to educate them to basically make that representation, that knowledge, more and more green, more and more at what we want it to be on a level that a user doesn't constitute a weak spot, a weak link into our organization, but becomes then more and more an asset into providing safety and security to our organization and to the tools, to the AI tools that they are actually using. Okay, next slide. And I told you we can calculate exactly with those metrics where we are going. The evolution is more important than what is right now. It's really understanding we come from a starting point and we are getting better. We know we have some gaps and we are closing those gaps. We didn't know how to use AI tools. We know now how to use AI tools, and it's making sure that that knowledge really sits in the heads of people as they are using Copilot, they are using Gemini, they are using ChatGPT. They know what they need to be careful about so that it will actually help them in their work without having too many risks for themselves and for the company. Next slide, Smita. So all those metrics will be available in the platform, but also more importantly, will be shared with managers or line managers even over time, different periods of time, being it the month, the quarter, the year, the week even, to just tell you this is how people engage to that process of increasing knowledge in the heads of people. And that's what is working, so that you can pinpoint out any disruptions, any people that are not actually doing maybe stuff. It's always the problem. You have a hierarchy on managing people themselves than actually managing the AI assistants, if you consider it like that. So it becomes a new hierarchy in the company. So it's just making sure that everybody is really doing what they are supposed to do, and also the users are being basically managed correctly with that with the tool that we put at your disposal over there. Okay, next slide. So yeah, just summarizing that, we have basically different levels of being able to understand that. All the dashboards are generated in real time to be able to see the details of everything, and then those metrics are extracted into different views so that different audiences will be able to understand what matters to them into managing the knowledge that is shared with every user in the platform. So just summarizing that: manual reports, dashboards, weekly summary reports, performance reports that go out to managers or CEOs in a more graphical way, very easy way then to understand the data. The data is very deep, but it's easy to understand if it is represented in a way that everybody can then understand it. Next slide. Yeah, next slide. So I'll come back to what Sumeda said in the very beginning. So it's about having those pillars, those 5 pillars in place. The structure, obviously, organizational structure, who takes care about those AI projects. Obviously, that is something that is more structural, but then all the other pillars are basically related with individuals and the knowledge that they get from the policies and the principles that they will get done, maybe from a tool like uSecure, and maybe from that particular module that is uPolicy, for example, the procedures and controls same way. So they are informed about the procedures. The controls are then something that can then be applied on those procedures that are, or guidelines that are shared with a tool like uSecure. Obviously, people and their skills. It's about training them with the needed knowledge that can be then done into the platform. And it's very important to have then a tool that evolves over time. AI evolves very quickly. We have a set of training courses around AI and AI tools, but there are new tools that are coming. There are new functionalities in those tools. Sumeda mentioned those Gen AI tools that generate images, even now videos. So it's very very dangerous to not be careful about anything that is generated nowadays, because it can look very real. So deep fakes are known, for example, but it goes beyond that. Like I've seen very recently on LinkedIn that people starting to share fake receipts, for example, for expenses. So all those things, those are small details, but AI tools actually can be used also in a negative way. So you need to be careful about that. But that evolves very quickly over time. So it needs to be also part of the training. Okay. And the last pillar, obviously, being able to monitor, report, and evaluate the knowledge and how those used goes together with reporting and evaluating the knowledge of people too, because again, the people are the ones, the parents, that are taking a responsibility basically for their children, their teenagers, that they are using to help them in their work basically. Next slide, Joanna. So really, why am I talking about all this? Why do we need an approach that we call human risk management? It's really about making the knowledge stick in the heads of people. We have quick, regular, and engaging courses, as I told you, without being too heavy, so that it doesn't hinder your productivity. That is what nowadays works. It's about covering different aspects with those 4 pillars that we have that will then help us deal with the 5 pillars of good AI governance. And it's about showcasing and tracking how that is done. So that's what we can do on the level of humans. That what helps greatly into having AI governance, because it is the most important factor is individuals, is people basically that you have in our organizations. That's it from my side. I hand over to Sumeda, which can then complete and finalize this webinar. Thank you so much. You're on mute, Sumeda.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah. Thank you, Bruno, for the insightful discussion on how USecure is the perfect solution to have as adopt, as a training platform in your AI adoption journey. As Bruno explained, that managing human element of this adoption is absolutely paramount, because that's where you have most risks associated with. So as a platform, USecure can provide those you learn, you breach, you policies where you could govern all your policies, and also use that module to develop it has all the templates in it as well, so as a starting point, so you could create those policies and send it across to your user base, so they are aware what they need to do, what they don't need to do, those type of things. And as well as you could create those policies where you can comply on the cyber standards and other available legislations at present. So here we're gonna close this webinar, and thank you very much for your time, for participating in this webinar. And I hope that this webinar is an informative one for you. And also we have this offer as part of this webinar for all the registrants of this webinar, where we could provide you with a free trial of USecure platform, where you could try it out and see whether it fits. And at the same time, if you are in your AI adoption journey, we can come and help you prep your environments so that you can go about your adoption without having much issues. Once again, thank you very much, and thank you, Bruno, once again for your insightful discussion on this topic. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Sumeda.